Here's what's coming up on the program today. A Russian diplomat to the United Nations quits over the war in Ukraine as a Russian soldier is handed a life sentence for killing a Ukrainian civilian. Countries worry over the spread of monkeypox as the World Health Organization says there's been no evidence it has mutated. The US receives its first shipment of baby formula from Europe amid a critical nationwide shortage. A big welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and around the world. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amarachi Ubani. A Russian diplomat at the United Nations, Boris Bondarev, has quit over the war in Ukraine. Speaking to the BBC earlier, he said the reason he quit was because he strongly disagreed and disapproved of what his government is doing and has been doing at least since February. He did not want to be associated with it any longer. He said it was a case of when, not if, he was going to quit, and he did not see any other alternative. He says despite being shocked by the Russian invasion, he did not believe his feelings are widespread in the foreign ministry. Meanwhile, Ukraine's deputy prime minister has called for the international community to help it lift the blockade of Ukraine's seaports to allow it to export the millions of tons of grain stuck in its silos. Yulia Ziridenko hinted that Ukraine needed guarantees from partners to be able to make the exports and to make them on a regular basis. Ukraine's inability to export its grain has led to food prices rising around the world and raised the prospect of famines in countries which depend on its exports. Well, earlier today, the verdict was pronounced on a young Russian soldier, Vadim Shishirmarin. He was just 21 years old. He was been accused of killing a civilian, an unarmed civilian, in Ukraine just shortly after the invasion of Ukraine. That was on February 28th. This trial, the criminal trial, the first in Ukraine, has been ongoing since last week. The VOA's Anna Chenikova joins us now for more. Anna, great to see you. And I do understand, well, this may seem like a major victory for some, major relief for others, so maybe some recompense on behalf of those who've lost someone in the invasion. What are Ukrainians making of this verdict?
First step, because of course Ukrainians understand that this is not the last. And Ukrainians are waiting for next court cases because today tomorrow is actually 3 months of the full-scale war, and since the first day, since February 24, the entire Ukrainian law enforcement system has been investigating all Russian war crimes. So Ukrainians definitely waiting for more cases, and this one is a kickoff, is a start, and it's definitely positive, of course, within the Ukrainian society. So today, court in Kyiv handed down the first conviction of war crime, and as you said, Russian serviceman Vadim Shishirmarin, accused of killing a civilian in Sumy region at the beginning of the invasion, was sentenced to life in prison. I should say that this case is showing very well, the whole Ukrainian fight for independence, because this case includes also a lot of actions from the civilians in the Sumy region who actually helped and were very much involved in helping to catch these Russian soldiers. If we go into more details, the court found evidence against Shishirmarin and concluded that the murder was premeditated. So the court rejected all the defense's arguments that Shishirmarin had allegedly carried out the order, because the order was not given by his commander. It was given by another soldier who has higher rank than he. And it definitely was itself a criminal order. So the court also did not consider the defendant's remorse as sincere. And also, well, Shishmarin was found guilty of violating the laws and customs of war. And this is crime, this is international crime, and therefore it makes it particularly serious. What also should be added that both widow of the victim and also the prosecution was asking for life sentence. However, the wife of the victim, the widow of the victim, she said that she would not mind if Shishmarin would be exchanged for the Azovstal defenders, for Mariupol defenders.
Wow, wow, Anna, and it's pretty hard to be sympathetic with Shishimari, isn't it? I mean, when you consider the atrocities that the Russian soldiers have allegedly perpetrated in Ukraine, you know, these people really weren't just following orders the way they seem to be doing this from their hearts. And to the issue of, you know, the exchange of prisoners, I don't know, is Ukraine even considering any of that, you know, as punishment? I mean, he did commit a crime, though, so that doesn't even come up in this instance, right?
Well, for the moment, we don't really have, you know, any, you know, official comments if he could be exchanged, because exactly as you said, the court convinced him, and basically he got this, you know, life imprisonment. So I think that, well, what it comes about the Azovstal defenders and Mariupol defenders and exchange procedure that should start, everyone hopes for that, and according to official comment that it should start at one point. It is very important for Ukraine to exchange Mariupol defenders. So maybe this could be considered, again, taken into consideration that this is what the widow of the victim said. And I think that it would be also a certain, you know, social decision on that. But again, we'll see. I would like just to highlight that Mariupol defenders exchange procedure is extremely important. So it might be that all different kind of opportunities would be considered and would be included for negotiation.
Indeed, Anna, and thanks for pointing that out. Well, you've already talked us through the symbolism, you know, of this trial in Ukraine is the first, and it's quite a milestone, isn't it, that the trial is taking place just as the war is also taking place in other parts of Ukraine. So are there other Russian soldiers who will also be facing war crimes charges at this trial?
Surely there are a lot of cases under the investigation. Ukrainian officials and prosecution office do not give and provide any particular details because this is under the brief of secret. But we definitely know that this is ongoing, and all the investigations are taking place with international partners and with international organizations involved. So definitely, Ukrainian society is waiting for more court cases, and well, we'll see. But I think that this would be quite soon. Well, I mean, there were no official announcement or anything like that yet, but this is what what society is waiting for.
And the Ukrainians consider this justice for the war?
You know, we cannot bring back those people who were killed, and we cannot bring back, you know, the happiness for the families who lost their loved ones. But definitely, this is the way to go, because the crimes, and especially such war crimes as we witness here in Ukraine, should definitely be, you know, bring to court and should be judged in the international way, in the way of the international justice.
Anna, those attacks are still continuing in Ukraine, aren't they? We're hearing that there is intensified shelling in the Donbas region. Tell us about it.
Yeah, very, very difficult situation in Donbas, especially Luhansk region, because, for the past couple of days, Ukrainian military officials, they divide Donetsk region and Luhansk region in particularly, because we can see that most of the fighting, the heaviest, I should say, fightings are happening around Severodonetsk, and this is Luhansk region. What we definitely can see from the tactics that Russian armed forces are using for the moment, they want to get to the administrative borders of the Luhansk region, and this is quite clear. They try to surround Severodonetsk, and because Severodonetsk is now under Ukrainian control, so they try to surround. They bring all different type of military equipment there, and according to military experts and according to the intelligence, we also witnessed that basically Russian forces are bringing everything they have left, everything which is left in their disposal. So the most powerful equipment is accumulated in this region. And yes, the last couple of days and especially nights are extremely tough. We just have to wait and see how all this would be going, because there is no particular progress, great progress from both sides. So it's basically fightings on the front line, and Russian forces are they're moving a little bit, but it's not that tactical achievements yet. So we just have to wait and see.
And I remember over the weekend, the Ukrainian officials did put on display those Russian tanks which had been captured and which had been destroyed in the course of the war. President Zelensky was addressing the World Economic Forum today, and he talked about crippling the Russian economy, and he does not believe any maximum measures are currently taking place. The EU did announce a new round of sanctions about 2 weeks ago. Doesn't that say something about the efforts being made, though?
According to Mr. Zelensky, and this is what also we can clearly see, that definitely efforts are undergoing, and we can see that EU is trying to do their best to come into the agreement. Again, it was not agreement yet, because there are a lot of negotiations within the countries of the European Union. Effort is great, and effort is really huge, and this is for sure, and Ukraine is very thankful for that. And President Zelensky highlighted that Ukraine and Ukrainian society in particular are extremely thankful for all the help. What he also mentioned, which is quite important, and it's of course important not only for Ukraine, but for any country and for the future especially, that such actions are great and even better if they are preventing. So he highlighted that such actions could have been done to prevent, and unfortunately Ukraine now is dying every day and losing a lot of people every day, because such kind of actions were not considered before to prevent. But again, we have a very tough situation, and of course European and international support is very, very important, and it's crucial for this war. President Zelensky also mentioned and thanked certain countries who already confirmed that they will help to rebuild Ukrainian cities, and he invited other countries to join. He also mentioned military help that Ukraine already received and continue to receiving, and he asked for to continue these efforts, because this is what makes Ukraine win at the battlefield, and this is basically the main negotiation table, the battlefield in this war. He also encouraged international community to punish Russia through leaving Russian markets by the international companies, and also by arresting Russian capitals around the world and to use these capitals to help rebuild Ukraine. So, this is quite, like he just suggested it as, a general roadmap, I should say. And he also proposed to create an organization that would help in Ukraine, together with Ukrainian corporations, that would help to prevent starvation, because we know that because of the Russian aggression and the war that is happening, a lot of countries do not receive enough food, and which is importing from Ukraine, the Ukraine exports, and this is a huge problem, global problem, and Ukraine should definitely do something with it together with international community. And I think that one of the most important things that he said was that we should not wait for a fatal strike from Russia. We should do everything now, whatever we can, all together.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's mentioning everything short of an invasion of Russia itself. Anna, the Deputy Prime Minister this morning probably re-echoed what President Zelensky said, about the food that's not getting to people, getting to other parts of the world like it should. She mentions the blockades of Ukraine's seaports, and she wants those blockades lifted, appealing to the international community to do that. But what's been happening, with the grains and the food that's stuck at these ports because they're unable to be airlifted or moved out because of the blockade by Russia?
Well, yeah, this is a huge problem because it's quite a long time now that this food is actually there, and it could just get, it just can, be destroyed by the time, and more time it takes, worse it is for this particular product. And this is now, for the moment, this is the main, I should say, the main point of negotiations between the highest officials from Ukraine and around the world. And what we know from the official sources, because there are no particular, a lot of official information on that. I think this is quite, also quite internal information. But what we know is that there are talks between Ukraine and its international partners, including US and EU, for deblockade of the Black Sea, because this is extremely important for the whole world. And as you already mentioned, a lot of countries are suffering from that. And this should be done very quick because again, food can just expire, and that's it.
Right, Anna, thank you so much. You have been our eyes in Ukraine all this while. Thank you for speaking to us, and do stay safe.
Thank you.
Well, just to buttress what Anna was saying earlier about the captured soldier Vadim Shishimarin, he was convicted of killing Alexander Shalipov, a 62-year-old civilian, in the northeastern village of Chupakiva on February 28th. He did admit, though, shooting Shalipov, but said he'd been acting on orders and asked forgiveness of the man's widow. In the meantime, the German Chancellor Olaf Schultz is in Africa on a 3-nation tour. While in Senegal over the weekend, he said Germany wants to intensively pursue gas and renewable energy projects in the country. His 3-day visit comes against the backdrop of war in Ukraine and its impact on energy and food prices. Germany is seeking to reduce its heavy reliance on Russian gas. He told a press conference, just as he stood with President Macky Sall, as far as the question of energy cooperation is concerned, it is very broad. It is about renewable energy. The president referred to this in terms of storage capacity, solar and wind energy. But of course, it is also about cooperation in terms of using the natural gas resources that Senegal has. Senegal has billions of cubic meters of gas reserves and is expected to become a major gas producer in the region. President Macky Sall says Senegal is ready to work towards supplying the European market with liquefied natural gas. He forecasts Senegal's LNG output reaching 2.5 million tons next year and 10 million tons by 2030. Mr. Schultz continues his trip to Niger before a final leg in South Africa.